Hi students, and welcome to week 2 in your online lifespan growth and development course. I hope last week was a very successful and great week for you as you started the fall semester. And this week will bring us to week 2 and chapter 2 in our class. So just a couple of reminders before I start talking about this week's module. I want to remind you that this link over here, the Macmillan Higher Education, the one with the 2, is the one that you need to make sure that you have set up. Most all of you have. Not only is that where your ebook lives, but that is also the program Achieve, which is where your quizzes and some of your assignments live. So we want to make sure we all get that set up. And by clicking on that, it'll walk you through the steps to get that initiated if you haven't already. So let's take a look here. You all did great last week with the assignments. Thank you for telling me more about yourself and introducing yourself to the class and so forth. This week, we will actually start with conception to birth. So last week was almost like a review of what you should have learned in general psychology. And this week, we'll start with the stage of conception to birth. So a lot of prenatal talk about appointments and growth and so forth that should be happening during prenatal development. So in addition to, let's take a look here what we have in your modules. You have your PowerPoint slides here. There is a discussion question. I'll come back and talk about that. You do have your first journal that is due. I'll come back and talk about that. There are a couple of videos not tied to a particular assignment, but just to help enhance the material for the week. And then your chapter 2 quiz. So as far as assignments, you see the ones with the due dates and the points that they're worth. So you have these two and then your quiz. Let's take a quick look at your discussion question on teratogens. So last week you did your first discussion question where you introduced yourself to the class. The format's going to be pretty much the same in terms of what you post initially will be visible to all the students in your class. And then in addition to making your initial post to receive full credit, you need to post on at least 2 other students' post for full credit. So a comment on their post. Ideally, you would get that initial post done by Wednesday of the week, and then at some point make your additional 2 posts to classmates. Now you can always work ahead on this. It doesn't mean that you have to wait. If there are enough discussions up already, and on Wednesday when you post yours, or on Monday when you post yours, whatever day, you can go ahead and comment on at least 2 students' posts. Go for it. Absolutely. There's nothing that makes you stay till the end of the week. The reason I ask that you can consider doing that early post is because if we all wait to do anything until Sunday, then those who want to have it done by Friday and may be out of town for the weekend, or want to get it all done in one swoop and don't want to remember to go back in on Sunday and have to do that. Whatever the case is, if we spread it out like that, then there's plenty of time for people to work at the pace that works best for them. So I don't count off if you don't get that initial post done by Wednesday, but if you can, that would be great. And so when I talk about initial posts, that is your response to the discussion question. So for this week, in prenatal development, in chapter 2, one of the topics we'll learn about are teratogens. That is anything that can cross the placental barrier and potentially harm the fetus. So anything from stress to certain agents to certain diseases. If the mother contracts a disease, that can be passed on to the fetus. So through your book, your reading, and any research that you want to do, choose one teratogen that you find interesting. Maybe it's one you didn't realize could hurt the fetus, one that you didn't know, maybe. It doesn't matter, whatever interests you. And then make sure you address these bullet points here. So introduce the teratogen, describe its effects on the developing fetus. Once a baby is born, what difficulties might be experienced, and how can we prevent the effects of this teratogen and any suggestions you have for expecting mothers around this idea of teratogens. So I'm looking for, these questions to be answered. There's not a certain word limit. I suggest 2 paragraphs, but really it's mostly about providing this research. Don't forget that if you, and I'm assuming you're probably going to need to do some research to find the answers to these questions, that you cite in APA format your references that you use. The whole thing doesn't have to be in APA format, but just the citation. And you can just include them at the bottom after you've written your answers to these areas right here. In the Getting Started module, you have some resources on APA. The website OWL, which stands for Online Writing Lab from Purdue University. If you do a quick Google, but there are some links in the Getting Started module on this. It's a great resource to use for APA citing. If you need to look up how do I cite a website or how do I cite a podcast or whatever the case may be, you'll be able to find that on that OWL Purdue site. So that's always a good resource for you to use for APA. So that is your discussion question. I'm going to go back and look at your journal that is due for this week. So you're answering this question right here. I always say journal number 1, but actually I do realize that there are more than one question in this. What I say is one question. Approximately 250 words, double space. That's about a page. Typed, double space, regular size font. If it's a little shorter, if it's longer, no problem whatsoever. Again, I'm looking that you're thoroughly answering the question. On journals, there's not a lot of rules. Journaling is free writing, so these are your prompts. You can take this question and run with it in any direction that makes sense. This is about you, your thoughts, your feelings. So please don't be looking for a specific way that this journal, there's not a right or wrong answer. So really just reflect on your personal hero and a difficult time in your life and so forth. These questions are designed to get you thinking about your own lifespan as we apply it to the study that we'll be doing this semester in this class. So just this part right here is due for your journal. You'll have 4 journals throughout the semester. Sometimes students are like, do I do them all now? Nope. The only thing that's due by September 4th is just what I have highlighted here, just what you see in this journal number 1 assignment. So you probably shouldn't need any citations on your journal because it is about you and your life, and it doesn't require you to do research. So I'm not looking for any APA citation on these. However, I could see a situation where maybe you do want to reference something. It's okay to do that, but I'm not looking for citations on journals, okay? It really is a free flow of writing that's all about you. So that is what you will do this week. You will learn about prenatal development, conception to birth. You will have a discussion question on teratogens, a journal assignment, and then your chapter 2 quiz. I hope you have a wonderful week. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Take care, everybody, and have a great week.